Climate change and biodiversity loss are two of the most pressing challenges facing our planet today, but they're often treated as separate crises, when in reality, they are deeply intertwined. To understand this connection, we need to take a closer look at what biodiversity really means and how climate change is putting it at risk. Biodiversity refers to the variety of life on Earth, the countless species of animals, plants, fungi, and microorganisms that make up our ecosystems. This diversity is not just a feature of nature, it's the very foundation that supports all life, including our own. But this diversity is now under threat, like never before. And the primary culprit? Climate. Global temperatures. Many species are finely tuned to their environments. Even a slight increase in temperature can push them to the brink. Coral reefs, for example, are particularly sensitive. When ocean temperatures rise, corals expel the symbiotic algae that give them their color and nutrients. This leads to coral bleaching, a phenomenon that has decimated some of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet. Without these reefs, entire marine ecosystems collapse. Fish lose their habitats, and coastal communities, many of which rely on fishing and tourism, suffer devastating economic losses. Next, let's talk about habitat loss. As temperatures rise, ecosystems are changing. Some species can migrate to cooler areas, but others, like the polar bear, cannot. Polar bears depend on Arctic sea ice to hunt seals, but with the ice melting earlier and forming later each year, their feeding grounds are disappearing. Without the ice, these animals are forced onto land, where food is scarce. Their survival is in jeopardy, and they're not alone. Habitat loss caused by climate change is pushing countless species toward extinction. Climate change doesn't just threaten species individually, it disrupts entire ecosystems. Let's take a look at ecosystem services. These are the natural processes that biodiversity provides, like pollination, water purification, and carbon sequestration. For example, bees play a critical role in pollinating the plants that feed us. But as temperatures rise and weather patterns change, bees are becoming disoriented. Their habitats are shrinking and their populations are declining. Without pollinators, global food security is at risk. This isn't just about losing individual species. It's about disrupting the very systems that we depend on for survival. Now, it's important to understand that biodiversity doesn't just fall victim to climate change. It also plays a critical role in climate resilience. Healthy biodiverse ecosystems are better able to withstand the impacts of climate change. Wetlands and mangroves, for example, protect coastlines from storm surges. Forests absorb and store carbon dioxide, helping to regulate the global climate. But as biodiversity declines, ecosystems lose their ability to recover. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. Climate change accelerates biodiversity loss, and biodiversity loss makes ecosystems more vulnerable to climate impacts. So, what can we do? The solution is clear. We need to address both crises simultaneously. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is critical, but so is protecting the ecosystems that help regulate our climate. Governments and businesses must invest in conservation, expand protected areas, and restore degraded ecosystems. And we, as individuals, need to support these efforts through our actions, our voices, and our choices. Fortunately, there are examples of progress. In Costa Rica, a large-scale reforestation initiative has successfully restored degraded land, increasing biodiversity while absorbing significant amounts of carbon dioxide. In the Philippines, Coastal communities are restoring mangrove forests, not only to protect biodiversity, but also to shield themselves from typhoons and rising sea levels. These success stories show us that it's possible to reverse the damage if we act now. Every effort we make to conserve biodiversity strengthens our planet's resilience to climate change. We're facing an unprecedented crisis, but we also have unprecedented tools and knowledge at our disposal. The choices we make today will determine the future of life on Earth. As individuals, we can make a difference. Simple actions like reducing our carbon footprint, supporting sustainable products, and advocating for strong environmental policies can help protect biodiversity and fight climate change. And when done collectively, these actions create real change. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of the problem. But remember, change starts with awareness and action. The more we understand the connection between biodiversity and climate change, the more empowered we become to protect our planet and all its inhabitants. Biodiversity and climate change are two sides of the same coin. Protecting the incredible variety of life on Earth is essential for tackling the climate crisis. The decisions we make today will determine the world we leave behind for future generations. Let's choose a future where both nature and humanity can thrive.